Welcome back to your AfterBuzz TV after show for Game of Thrones, Episode 2, Season 6, Home. Who's alive? Who's dead? Stay with us. We'll find out.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Woo, this was a big one, everybody. I think we got something we may have been waiting for over here. Let's talk about it. My name's Kyle Maddock, and joining me on the panel tonight, I have Kristen Snyder.
Hello, hello.
Autumn Chickless is back.
What's up, everybody?
Sarah Stratton.
So excited to talk today.
And over here we have Ryan Malady.
Well, hello, Valar Morgulis, everyone. I'm sitting here at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Come check out the live chat. We got the best fans in the world right here. Loving this episode. Love all you guys. Let's do it.
Ow! Woo! All right, everybody. I don't think... I know I said something important happened, but maybe it didn't this episode. Let's just... Let's start off at Castle Black. We'll get to it in just a second, but let's lead into it right now. Castle Black, time is up, ladies and gentlemen. Not Davos, sorry, everybody. Davos is running out of time. Everybody's going to go in and attack him, and we get the wildlings showing up. Ooh, exciting stuff.
I just love the parallel we get where you have the banging on the door, and for a second you think that's loud, but you're all waiting, and then all of a sudden you just have like the giants banging on the larger door. Yeah. Taking control, great kill to start off the episode.
That was brutal. Took no prisoners, and I sense a theme of killings today.
Of head bashings?
Of head bashings against
it's like
the wall.
very brutal death, but no wars. Like we can make enough of an impact with just singular killings. Like the message of the one kill.
Yeah.
I don't know how many tallies we had with deaths, but I like it. I wish this many people died every single episode.
You are a
Who's
sadist.
with me?
Kind of going off of that, I remember, I couldn't join you guys last week, and I was devastated, but with some of my friends who I was talking about the episode, because of course I didn't miss it, you were talking about how we always feel like the start of every Game of Thrones season, we're really psyched, pump it up, and then the first 4 episodes are always a little slow, a lot of exposition, etc., and we always have that conversation of, oh, it's a little slow, right? And then, remind ourselves, oh, this always happens every season. I don't feel that with this season. I feel like they jumped right the frick into it, and I'm thrilled that and by the way, as you know, I understand why they did that in previous seasons, but because they've done that so beautifully and constructed this narrative so well, they didn't have to waste any time. They just kind of hit us with the big shit right away.
It feels like they don't feel shackled down by any book storylines now or anything that could be like, all right, we kind of know where George wants to go, but we can do our own thing. Let's start killing off people. Let's get rid of this, all the superfluous stuff we think is going on, and just kind of get to the meat of it. Which,
true.
Ooh, it's making it exciting. People are dying left and right. Here comes the cavalry moment. I loved it.
And the cavalry is the people we used to hate, fear, used to be, like the wildlings, season 1.
Oh, yeah?
We didn't have almost anyone we liked, at least for me. Like, the biggest, for the longest time, any wildling we met was, like, beating women or doing something crazy, and now they're who we were rooting for in the episode. That's a really big shift.
And it's pretty interesting because their friends, they like Jon Snow, and Dolores said had to tell them that Jon Snow was already dead. So in coming back and helping them out, they're pretty much just helping Jon Snow's friends, but not Jon Snow himself.
Well,
So that's kind of a huge step. So that's a huge step for the wildlings to be like, we like that guy so much, we're going to go help his friends.
Well, yeah, he's been a uniting force even in his death, and frankly, especially in his death, because you have the 2 groups of people who admired him so much, other than, of course, those who killed him, but what can you do? When you have 2 forces that love a single person so much, and we don't see that often in this show. More often than not, people are just maliciously hated who have any kind of authority or power, but it was so awesome to see that kind of overarching unity just based on one guy who happens to be an authoritative figure. That does not happen often.
Well, there's a strategy here, and that we have the sector of Castle Black, Men of the Night's Watch, who didn't like Jon Snow, who were traitors. We've been kind of dealing with them for a whole, season, 2 seasons.
Yep.
But Jon Snow has always been strong to his oaths, keeping them involved, keeping even people who hated him at their castle instead of sending him out to different appointed positions. For instance, like making him first ranger, all of those other things. But they strategically took Jon Snow out of the picture and now have alienated that bad group of people without making Jon do it. Like his death did it, but he still has always been a loyal brother. He never weeded out the bad eggs. It's always been done around him.
That's a really good point.
So, like, they've just been like, we need to get rid of these people. But Jon needs to stay, you know,
As perfect.
as
and-
perfect as he can
morally.
be. We're not going to damage his reputation for our viewers. Let's just leave him be dead for a little bit longer than everyone expected.
There we go. Speaking of leaving him dead, Davos is going to take some steps to make sure that doesn't stay true for very long. Ryan, somebody saying something in the chat over there?
Yeah, everyone's talking about Jon Snow being back. Obviously, it's everyone's anticipation was finally met. Woo woo, Jon Snow.
We've been waiting. Gosh.
And I asked, Jon Snow's back, but is he still Jon Snow? The same Jon Snow that we've grown to know and love. And Havoc6280 says Jon Targaryen.
There you
Now,
go. But he's always been, if he's Jon Targaryen, he's always been Jon Targaryen, right?
Yes and no, because he wasn't aware of it.
Okay, true.
We
I mean,
also
he's coming
talked
back from
about
a dark
if
place.
he's been dead, does that release him from his oaths? Like what you talked about that last week.
I would think
Kyle.
so, because, you know, I'm sure if you took it into any court of law and you took a line that said, until my dying day, and then you die, that contract is null and void after that point, right?
You know that, as speaking someone with no lawyer experience, that sounds right to me.
Yes, I love it.
That sounds clean.
Can I just say that Ollie was continuing to be a little jerk, and I was like really hoping that Ghost would attack him.
Kristen, I will be with you on your battle for like death. I thought he was gonna die when he did that last strike, and I was kind of hoping for it.
Ooh.
Yeah, you and Peter D both share that hope that Ghost eats Ollie.
Hey, it could still happen.
Well, Ollie doesn't get
It's not
eaten,
over
but
yet.
him and Alistair do get thrown in the cells. They get locked up, put away, and I don't think any other brothers get locked up. One dies, two get locked up, all the rest sort of.
Well, then they were
changed
talking
it.
about all the stab wounds with Jon. There was like a moment, and it was very, very quick, but he was like, wow, those are a lot of knives. And I was wondering if it was referring to that at all, or if it was just a comment about how many stab wounds there were. You know what I mean?
I saw it as just a comment,
good
but
point.
possibly, yeah.
No, yeah,
I'm not
though,
sure.
it was just one of those moments because I was noticing, all right, some are dead, I know that, but Ollie, Sir Alistair, anyone else? Does anyone, like, do they know who else?
Like the named traitors.
Yeah.
do they know all
names-
the named
I'd have to
traitors?
go back and I'd have to watch that last season about
Me
any
too.
particular
If you guys know,
faces.
please let me know. I'm just curious because that struck me. If they do have all of the names, then why are they all?
One of the things that was said in, I believe, the last episode, in the premiere of this season, when Alistair stood up and admitted that he killed Jon, he said it was, I believe, all of like the heads or the equivalent of how I visualize it, the heads of the board of
Right.
the
committee.
Night's Watch,
Committee
like
captains.
the people with leadership positions. But he did mention like which group of them did this killing,
Right.
Because I remember thinking, "And Ollie, don't leave Ollie out."
Going back to your point about the wounds, though, I do hope that we get a life for each of those stab wounds.
You are so vengeful today.
I know,
My
but it's
gosh.
today and every
Always.
day.
Yes, that's very true.
It's delicious.
Forget who I'm talking about here. But we have Davos having this scene where he has to convince Melisandre that she has this ability because she. We were kind of curious. We weren't sure if all the Red Priests had it or like because people were saying that she should just know she can do this, but we find out that she does not think she has that capability. She knows that Thoros had done it at one point, but she didn't think she was capable. So we did have to have Davos give this pep talk.
It's
sort of
funny
to get
because
convinced.
Davos, obviously we know he didn't always support her and didn't like her, and then he comes in and he's now her
That's what I
cheer
was saying.
system,
I think I
giving her
predicted that last week.
confidence.
And as far as
You
the
did.
power goes, and she's always said that that's impossible. And she said the same thing earlier when we saw this power, that the last person who did it shouldn't have had this power. And I thought it was interesting that both of the red priests and priestesses that we saw be able to bring people back to life had both lost their faith at someone.
That's a great point.
They had both strayed from the faith. They had both lost hope in something. and then somehow they were both able to do this. I don't know if that's connected. I'm just trying to piece together how in the world you get this power, because it just seems like you say, I don't know if I have it. Oh, I do.
Well, what's going to happen now that Melisandre's going to think that, you know, she is responsible for bringing him back? Is she just going to, you know, be almighty and powerful? Like, how is this going to affect her?
Oh, she can just go around bringing people back left and right.
That's what I'm asking.
Hey, guy who got his head smashed against the wall, I'm bringing you
Or
back
like,
to life.
what
I
does
don't know
that
if he wants
power
to-
do on walkers?
Oof.
It's
It's a different sort of resurrection
I'm
right
just
there.
asking. I just have questions.
So Jon Snow is back. We
Yes!
have like a 10-minute long shot just on him, right? I think it was a
Ready?
literal 10 minutes.
If you
right?
take a look at my notes, there's a giant YUS
Like this one?
underlined.
What about
Jon Snow
Yeah,
what
right
about the drawing on the
there.
next page of him in the loincloth?
Yes.
Wait, what?
What is that?
Yeah,
What is he?
I saw you drawing, sketching him.
You know, let's let's keep this PG.
Look,
guys.
I just hope he doesn't change clothes, okay? Stay true to who he is.
Wow.
It's pretty cold up there. It's pretty cold.
So I don't know if you guys remember too well Beric Dondarrion, how he kept bringing back, and with that scene, they kept mentioning that every time they did bring him back, he sort of lost part of himself.
Yes, I do remember that.
So I don't think whatever this Jon Snow that comes back, there's going to be something of him missing, whatever it may be, some part of his soul, like he might be a little
And
different.
he's been stabbed so many times. Maybe it's a lot different.
Possibly.
It's very possible.
And is this the first time he's going to be resurrected?
That I don't know, but
Ooh.
it is so for right now. Him losing a little bit of something. I'm really curious to see if it's because we don't really know what that means. If it could be something like part of his valor, part of what makes Jon Snow such an iconic character is he's the one valiant
Don't
knight
say that.
but you know what I mean. Like he's the one truly honorable person.
The
it
person
seems.
they've kept on a pedestal.
Yes,
almost all the
exactly.
time. Like,
He's kind of the
even with Ygritte.
stereotypical fantasy character. He's the good guy, the reluctant hero. and
Exactly,
everything.
the reluctant hero. And I wonder if, I hope not, but you know, there is something to be said about the fact that he might take a bit of a turn for the,
Ooh,
For the dark.
darkness. I
For
think
the dark.
I would like to see that.
Well, we did hear the one person who did come back to life 7 or 8 times. He says, I've been to the darkness.
And the
There-
darkness.
The light, you know, when you talk
Hello,
about
darkness,
I would-
my old friend.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what Jon Snow
Oh,
has
copyright.
to
Did
say.
I just? Oh, sorry.
No, you got like 15 seconds before you're in trouble.
Okay, nice.
But Jon Snow's gonna have a story to tell, right? I mean, he went somewhere. Maybe he had a vision. You know, maybe.
oh, maybe.
I mean, maybe he talked to some other former
Maybe
relatives
he met
who
up
had
with
passed.
Bran. Who knows?
Maybe it's like sunshine of the spotless mind and he just forgets about Ygritte.
Go.
Oh God, Eternal Sunshine.
Spotlight,
Yeah.
yeah, eternal.
So,
Eternal Sunshine of the
nothing.
Spotless
do you guys still think that John was in Ghost? Do you think his persona, his soul, was still in there?
So
It
you
did seem
thought
that way.
His persona was in
No, but
Ghost.
it did seem that way.
It seemed like it for a second, and it started to feel kind of Harry Potter-esque with like all of those Horcruxes. But let's not mix fandoms here.
Well, I will agree with that because Ghost suddenly got up and then that's when John rose. So.
Yeah, you know, Tyler Biss agrees. The way D&D portrayed Ghost in that scene was to illustrate Ghost's connection to John. Ghost has known John longer than everyone else in that room. There is a connection, and they definitely showed it enough for us to want to.
They
notice.
hint. The thing is, they hint on these connections. They made one with the Ghost and John today. They also made a hint with the dragons and Daenerys today about their some internal
Tyrion.
connection.
Yeah,
There,
feel
but I will
that.
get to that later.
So, I mean, we could spend an entire episode talking about John. John, I
Oh, we
think.
only have
but
30 more minutes.
we got a lot more to talk about, I think. So
Maybe we'll come back to it at the
Yes,
end.
yes, I
If
think
don't
we
start
will.
crying.
Yeah.
I did lots of drawings.
All
on
my
it,
friends
so.
haven't seen it yet, and I'm just gonna have to keep my mouth shut for the next few hours. See it.
So moving down to Winterfell, we have this scene with Ramsay and Roose and the Karstarks, and the big thing of this is that Roose,
Bruce
gone
dead.
with.
Ramsay killed him.
That was next level, man. I mean, they do a lot of really sick stuff on this show, but once you get to baby killing,
They've
you're
already
like,
had baby killing.
Yeah, but like that was brutal. They
This
showed
was
the
baby.
little face
Yeah.
crying.
With Roose and Ramsay, though, I thought it could have went either way. I mean, Roose was obviously sort of killing Ramsay's spirit of, being in power and the thoughts that he even had that chance anymore. But I thought it could go either way in the scene, and it seemed that way with literally every father, daughter, mother, son combination this episode. I
Family
felt a lot of
killings.
tension, yeah.
Well, even the way they shot it, where you were so close together and you just had them hugging with a knife thrust. It wasn't a wide knife thrust. It was just an insert where it left you guessing until you had the full reaction shot of who fell to the floor.
Because I know at least one of you when we were watching it just now, you went yes, and then Roose dropped, and you were like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. I cheered for the wrong person.
That was probably me. I just cheer for death.
Yeah, it's hard to cheer for either of them because they're both awful people.
Yeah, but I mean, lesser of two evils, I suppose.
They've just set it up so that if Ramsay ever shows mercy on anyone, I won't believe it.
No.
He's just past the point of I can never actually believe him doing something good.
Like giving a
agree with
baby
that.
back.
It wouldn't be shocking. It would be unbelievable.
He's purely evil. I mean,
Yeah.
him and Joffrey seem to be just they're just
Sadists.
purely evil. Ryan, what's up, man?
Well, Walter Carvalho made an interesting, I guess, prediction or theory, how Ramsay is going to invade Castle Black and then suddenly realize the wildlings are there and get massacred.
Agreed.
I think so.
Considering the theme of a stone wall being the most awesome weapon of choice in this episode, that's a big wall.
That is a big wall.
So.
I think there's another threat coming Ramsay's way.
Oh, really? Is this some? What am I
Yeah,
Is this a
missing?
prediction?
Well, I
Are
was
you-
going
are
to
you
say
thinking-
Theon.
Yeah, are you thinking Ironborn?
I think he has another
You think
destination.
You think Theon's going after him?
I do.
He said-
Oh, okay.
Theon's going
That would be
home
really
first, right?
satisfying.
He did say I'm
to me.
going home,
which he
didn't
grew up with the
specify-
Starks.
Oh, I immediately took that for Pike, but
And I
that
took
is-
it for Pike as well.
And I think that's why they cut to Pike, because they want you to think that he
I'm
means
with you on that,
going
actually.
home
Wow.
to Pike, but I think he's going home to Winterfell.
What's funny is when you say that, because originally I thought, oh, he's going to go kill Ramsay, and then it cut to Pike. I'm like, oh, well, I guess.
That's very
Guess not.
interesting, though.
I guess not.
Especially how he referred to Ned as his basically father at one point in one of the other seasons. He was like, "No, I've already lost basically my real father," and that was pointing at Ned.
TBT to Ned.
Oh,
Are you guys
questions,
okay?
questions.
I have to check in every week now. Are you guys falling onto my side of Theon?
Yeah.
Liking Theon a little bit
Yes.
more now.
I'm still not there, and now he deserted Sansa. So
I would ask him to prom. We'll say that.
Well, he can't. He can't ask Sansa to come with him
But-
if he's going to Winterfell.
I just think that this show and this world, people should know better than to think that what they think is going to happen is going to happen. Like, she has 2 other people with her in the wilderness going to Castle Black with hounds finding him. Like, there's a chance he could go back and make some miraculous thing on his own, but I just wanted him to stay with her. I don't think she's protected enough. I don't think she's safe enough for him to kind of let her go.
I agree with that, and I think he'll come back to her.
I think it feels like you're looking for ways to find Theon at fault here.
Oh,
you are
dun,
just
dun, dun.
Theon
Just
hunting
because
here.
some of us have some mercy in our hearts, some forgiveness in the goodness of our hearts, does not mean that we forget
It's true.
all of.
And some of us just don't forgive. So.
Oh man! So speaking of Theon, let's go to his other home, not Winterfell, but to Pike, where there is some. We got some more deaths going on here. Some big time deaths. We have the War of the Five Kings. So we had Joffrey, Balon Greyjoy. We had Stannis. We had. Oh my gosh! I'm losing it. Sorry guys.
Hold on, I have them for you. We have Baratheons. We have Joffrey. We have 2 Baratheons. We have Greyjoy, and we have Robb.
Rob, yes. How could I forget Rob? Jeez. Oh
Because
my
he's so obvious.
gosh.
So everyone to forget.
Why? Because he's been dead a while.
It's been dead a while. I just
It
lost
took
all my
us-
credit, guys.
it
By
took-
the way.
It took us how many seasons to get through this War of Five
know.
Kings?
So Balon in the books is like the second king to go down. So I've been waiting for this for about 3 seasons now.
Wow.
But finally, we have the last of the 5 kings go down. And it happens, well, actually, right before it happens, we have this argument between him and Yara, his daughter, about what to do and Yara's like, give up. This war's over. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. And Balon's his full of himself, and he's like, we got to continue this. This is what we do. And
at that point, I thought Yara could possibly kill her father because she was just like, he's not right to rule anymore.
Been way too many child uprisings in one episode for that, I think. Just one too many.
Yep.
It would start. There have been themes throughout this episode anyway when it comes to killings. We don't want there to be like a daddy issues theme here.
very true, very true.
Do we have I just wanted to ask, do we have an update on Balon Greyjoy's brother?
Well, as far as I know, he's got a few brothers. He's got 3 brothers, and so
In the books.
In the books, he has 3 brothers. One's a priest, one's a drowned god priest, and then his 2 other brothers are sort of off, and they haven't come back for a long time.
Well, the guy mentioned he was a drowned god, so it
Well,
could possibly be him.
I liked, before the show, I liked how where we don't know specifically what brother this is because they at least didn't say a name.
They didn't say a name, and they're combining elements from both his brothers, so they might have merged a character. So,
Maybe.
Okay.
yeah.
I want to ask you guys something, panel. And I asked the chat as well. We'll check in with them in a minute. For the throne of the Iron Islands, who do you think is going to sit in that throne? Do you think it's going to be Yara? Do you think Theon is going to come home and be the heir? Or do you think Balon's, drowned god brother is going to take over?
Like, sit first? Like, first person to sit, or like sit the longest?
What's your theory?
Oh, I have to start? I think that it should take Theon, if he ends up going to Pike, a while to get home. And I think that in the long run, him and Yar could be a really nice ruling pair. Because he technically should, by birthright, have it, since they clarified in this episode that she is a woman, there hasn't been a woman ruler. I could see Theon, maybe, since they're trying to save his reputation, being something like, I will rule, but you will rule at my side, and rule together. Plus, that would be an interesting dynamic. We haven't really seen dual rulers win a region yet.
Yeah, I don't really know if it... I agree with that sentiment in the sense that he does have the right to it by blood. She wants it, and I think she'd be incredibly hesitant to give it to her brother, who's a broken man and has been gone, and who does not deserve it theoretically.
To prop him up.
Exactly, but what I would find interesting is if he ends up technically having the throne, but having her call all the shots. So it's even less of a dual seat.
Are you talking about Theon coming back?
If Theon ultimately comes back, but I think he's too broke.
I think we all said
not
we would like
any
to go to Winterfell, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think Theon's even concerned about ruling
No, he doesn't want
anymore.
it. He doesn't want it. That's
Yeah.
for certain. I'm just wondering if he would be thrust unwillingly into the position because technically it's his.
I don't think he's going back there, ever.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a high
Ever?
five.
You guys are saying you're in the ever boat. You're in the ever boat.
Yeah, I feel like the Drowned God came in to sort of just like intervene in what was needed, and I think Yara should be in power, and I think that's what's going to happen.
I think Yara should be.
I'm calling him. You're calling him the Drowned God. I'm calling him Crazy Brother.
Crazy Brother.
I'm calling him Crazy Brother.
Greg, with the chat has exploded with help and reference as always coming through. The character's name, Balon's brother, younger brother, is Euron.
But they have not confirmed.
I didn't want to.
We can't.
I purposely didn't want to say it because I don't know if
it's on the Game of Thrones wiki.
It is.
He was alluded to in season 1, and he made his first appearance in this episode.
So in the credits, he is listed as Euron.
Because that's what we don't have confirmation on yet. We need to check.
I haven't checked the credits.
Listeners, guys in the chat, if you watch the credits, because we kind of fast forward through the credits a little bit.
We have to get on here quick.
We got to get on here. Check to see if it is Euron or if the brother was listed as another name, because I don't want to give anything away that may be something.
Especially if they're changing things.
Yeah, absolutely. So he walks out onto this very safe, very stable bridge in a storm.
Yeah, that was always a smart thing
Built
to do.
out of toothpicks.
And he comes across his brother, who they haven't seen in a while, but I guess they pick right up where they left off, right? They were not getting along very well.
No.
My favorite part was that he was hooded, even though none of us knew him. Like, I was like, well, you could have just walked out there. We still wouldn't know who you were.
It wasn't for us.
I got what it was and for the scene and the move out of the way and all of that, but I just found it funny.
So Obi-Wan. I'm referencing all of my other fandoms as well. I'm just revealing myself.
I like.
Nerd I am.
I liked that it was storming, and he said that he was the storm. That's what made me feel like, he was the drowned
He
god.
sounded so full of himself.
He sounds so crazy.
He does sound pretty damn egotistical.
I
I
like
am the
him.
drowned god, of course. Kristen,
He's
I
my
love you.
second choice if Theon says no to prom.
Oh,
If Theon says no to prom,
Drowned
crazy
god,
bro.
second choice.
Oh
Very
gosh,
nice.
crazy bro.
This is actually one of the few storylines that is still the show has not caught up to yet, so I'm gonna be no commenting a lot on
Okay.
this
Okay,
stuff.
that's fair.
Okay.
So after that, we head to let's go back up north for a little bit, guys. Let's visit somebody we haven't seen in a very long time, Willis. No, I'm sorry, Bran. Let's go to Bran right here.
Hodor.
Hodor wasn't always Hodor.
So we start off with our second flashback ever, I believe, in this show. We had Cersei last season started off. This season we got episode 2 starting off with a flashback, but Bran is actually there. They are all crazy high or something in the tree, and they're
all warging out.
Tripping out.
They are tripping out in that tree, and so Bran is like walking around Winterfell with this three-eyed raven, right? And he's checking out his
And not
father.
in his Winterfell.
Not in his.
In Ned's childhood Winterfell.
Boom. He has gone back in time here. He is watching Ned and Benjen sparring, and Lyanna, or Lyanna, or however you want to say it. I'm going to get butchered for that. Or just ride around on the horse.
I just think this is really exciting because now we're going to get so much more history. This is obviously the beginning of going back in time to reveal different things to us.
I think that the mystery of Hodor is the second greatest mystery in all of Game of Thrones. So I'm really excited for this storyline. No, but I thought it was really interesting that Bran called it his home when that isn't his home. Like, yes, Winterfell.
Okay.
But he is so displaced, and for me, it just spoke to the fact that everything, all of the happiness that he's had with his family is in the past. You can never get back all the people who have died and all the home that was.
Maybe one.
Like, but it isn't change. It was like when he said this is home, he was finding joy in a world that is so far from existing.
Yeah.
But it's a place he knows. It's a place he
Of
recognizes.
familiar.
all dead people.
Feels good.
It feels good to,
dead
visit all
or
of your
wounded
dead.
or changed people.
It's nice to see them again, okay? Like, sign me up. I'm going to that tree after
I
prom.
know. It's like
There's a metaphor. There's a getting high under a tree metaphor in here somewhere after prom. I'm not going to waste time finding it, but it's there.
A lot of prom references coming from that corner.
I feel like we're all dressed up really nice today.
You
That is
lovely lady. By the way, the chat really appreciates how you guys are dressed. They love you. They think you're very pretty. All
Oh, thank you,
Chat.
Thank you, chat.
Kyle
Thank you, guys.
especially.
So, what did you think about this overall with this flashback? Did this kind of take you off guard? Did you think Bran was going to have this ability when he got in the tree? What did you think about going back in time like this? And what do you think it's leading to?
I think that we've had a lot of unanswered questions from the past. Hodor, obviously, number one. Number two, Jon's parentage. They've kind of opened the door to the fact that even though we've lost a lot of people, there's now an avenue in which we can get these answers.
Yes.
Which
Love that.
You create that possibility. It's a great thing, at least for storytelling.
Well, yeah, and kind of going off of that, you create an ability because so much of what we have learned about the past, obviously, has been through hearsay, through random monologues, random one-liners that reveal an entire plot back history. So if you blink for a second, you can miss something really important. But it'll be really interesting that now they've incorporated this device that allows them not only to discuss things that have such weight and have such importance when it comes to tying all these storylines together, but we can actually see them and watch them. So just from a narrative perspective, I think it's really smart. Did I see it coming? I have to be honest with you, with Bran, I don't know what's going on up there. You know what I mean? Like, I have gotten to this place where it is a world that they have established, obviously, but part of what they've established in this world is that we do not understand it entirely and we don't know what it's about. So I guess in a way, everything surprises me and nothing surprises me up there, if that makes sense. Because it's
Anything could happen.
and it's kind of this weird.
I don't think the storyline has really hit its like stronghold.
I agree with that.
Like
Yes.
it isn't something that it's something that was interesting. I think we all enjoyed it mostly, but we enjoyed it because of like the Hodor element and all these other things,
True.
as opposed to
You just love Hodor.
yeah, I've said this name at least 10 times in the last 5 minutes. But he's the storyline that I'm like, oh, information versus do I really, really care about him
agree.
as a character yet? No.
I agree, and I think that they're finally kind of going to delve into him as a character, because right now he's kind of been a device, and he's interesting in the sense that
Always been a device.
yeah, he has.
Always been a device.
But what I think is interesting is I mentioned earlier, and by earlier I mean literally 5 seconds ago, how we haven't really established the rules of his world
Right.
as firmly as we have everywhere else. Because
Can we trust these flashbacks?
I don't know. I don't know anything. I know nothing,
Tell
Jon
me.
Snow.
Tell me.
you do know things. You drink and you know things.
Oh, that is true.
Oh.
I drink and I know things. I'm changing my Instagram handle to that immediately after the
Give
show.
them ideas.
So let's move on from Bran. We still got a bit to hit on before the end, but let's go to King's Landing. We have this dude sort of boasting, and Gregor Stein comes along and
Uses his weapon of choice.
weapon of choice,
wall.
a wall,
A
and
wall.
crushes him head.
Damn, son.
But the main crux of this scene is that Myrcella's dead, and Cersei is not, per King Tommen's orders, Cersei is not allowed to leave the Red Keep and go to see her dead daughter. So we have Tommen and Jaime there above the body sort of talking about it, and Tommen's coming to this realization that he probably should have talked to his mom since he's been back, and kind of have this conflict. And I don't know, I saw some growth in his character. He kind of wasn't as whiny as I last remember him being, and a lot of bad stuff has happened. He sort of had to grow up quick.
I agree with that.
He shows signs of nobility, which is interesting because everyone else in his family is literally insane. All joking aside, though, what struck me is he has been whiny in the past, and also I'm not going to say that he has the best role models surrounding him when it comes to
I think that would be fair.
how to lead, and I'm not saying he's on the right track necessarily because he just requested help from his mother, which once again not going to qualify as the greatest role model. But there was something that struck me, was that as a leader, I want him to be the leader that the Lannisters should be, theoretically. Like, he showed
You want him
this...
to embrace his house.
Yes, exactly, and embrace what they're supposed to stand for. And ultimately, it was really nice to see someone go, you taught me to be strong, and I want to be strong, and I want to be a good leader, and this is something that I need help. He doesn't realize that his mom's bad,
Well, I don't know. He is the one who says, I'm pretty sure my mom is the one who
Yeah.
killed Trystane.
Oh, that's true. You're right. But I don't think he doesn't know the extent of it, though. She's still his mom. So my point is, I think he's of the Lannister set, other than Tyrion, of course. Bless you, my love. But other than Tyrion, he is the Lannister who shows the most nobility, the most honesty, and the least sadism. Yeah. Is that fair to say?
There you go.
Well, he doesn't ask her for guidance, by the way. He just asks her for strength, which obviously she is a very strong woman.
She
in
has
this
that in
story,
spades.
So.
Did you guys think Jaime was going to kill the High Sparrow?
I didn't think he was above it. When the High Sparrow basically asked him if he would spill blood in that area, I was like, he's done a lot more than spill blood in this arena before. This would not be his first sin.
Oh, what did he also say? He said, the gods won't mind. They've spilled more blood than all of us combined.
Yeah,
Which
but I was
loved
more
those.
talking about how he raped. Well, can we even say that? I'll say had sex in next to one of the last.
Well, that's bringing up a controversial scene from a couple
Exactly.
seasons ago.
That's why I took back my rape word.
Together we can overthrow an empire. The High Sparrow talking about him and his poor and penniless servants, or not servants, but followers.
Followers.
Or brothers, yeah.
One of you, Kristen or Autumn, brought up the rules of Bran's world.
Yeah.
I think they need clarification on the rules of this religion. I am so confused about who it seems like everyone can get punished, but we've only really embraced the fact that queens get punished. Like, where does this guideline come up from? Like, who are they punishing? How many people are in cells? I don't understand what this religion is doing besides targeting some of our primary characters.
Well, I think that part of that, and I agree with you, I think they need to clarify a little more, but I think part of that is because we've been following these characters where, you know, the rest of King's Landing we aren't necessarily intimately... we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it has been said in the past that laws have been stricter. People are under a lot more of... people are under this influence. Whether or not it's to the same extent as it is in the actual Lannister family, or within any of them, actually, within anyone in power.
It's just the royals.
The royals, yeah. I don't think we can say yet, but that's also possibly because they're trying to theoretically root out the evil that is overseeing everyone.
I get that. It just creates a haziness for me. Like,
I feel that.
Jamie listed all of his sins.
Oh man, we got a lot of... Ryan, what are they saying over there?
Well, all right, I just have to ask, you know, how does the Faith Militant keep getting away with all this stuff? Like, all right, Jamie's in there by himself, of course, and so he's surrounded by guys, but they're carrying like baseball bats with nails sticking out of them. Like, they're not really militant.
But historically, that's the way it goes down. If you piss off the people enough, they will overthrow you. Look at the French Revolution, look time and time again.
So the people are empowering the Faith Militant.
Oh yeah,
more so
absolutely.
Than
if you start taking out the Faith Militant, you're going to have an uprising on your hands from the people of King's Landing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I feel though it's like the Faith Militant has to go. I feel like the High Sparrow is going to die, you know, whenever someone finds him alone. Hopefully it's Jamie. I just feel like that was like foreshadowing to when he's obviously going to kill him. Yeah. So I think he goes down first, and then, you know, the Faith Militant, I don't feel like they're strong without a leader. So I feel like, you know, either there'll be a false leader or someone who can take them down. I just don't see them lasting too much longer.
All right. Well, we shall see what happens to them right there. Let's go across the sea, guys. Let's go to Marine.
Yes, we shall.
And the small council of Marine with Missandei and Grey Worm, Varys.
Small council of bad news.
And Tyrion. Bad news? I like all these people.
But bad news in the small council.
Oh, yes. Well, there was bad news happening. Slavers Bay, everywhere in Slavers Bay but Marine has reverted to the masters in charge. That's not good. That undid everything Daenerys has done the past couple seasons.
And it's not like Marine's doing well.
Yeah, Marine's in rough shape as well. And Daenerys has, in her plan, has once again stepped back to like season 1, where she's with a Khalasar and there are slaves all over Essos, and it's rough times over there. But Tyrion steps up, and he's kind of the voice of the people, I think, where he's like, let's get these dragons out, and let's do some fun stuff, right?
Unchain the dragons! Somebody had to.
That was like a Thundercats moment. Oh.
I felt it, okay?
I have the dragon!
He comes up with the idea that we need to feed the dragons, we need to release them. He tells the story that, because he's well read about dragons. I think in season 1, when he was up near the wall, he was actually reading a book about the history of dragons. And so he knows the story about how, after Aegon the Conqueror came over with his huge dragon, they had to put the dragons in captivity. They had to lock them in a pen, and in captivity they didn't grow as big, and so eventually the dragons just got smaller and smaller and smaller until they were not much of a threat, and then died out. And so I think Tyrion is very anti this. If Daenerys is to have any shot, she needs some dragons of size and power. And so he heads down to the crypts, and we have this awesome scene, I thought.
It was such
That was
a good
tense
scene.
and so good.
You guys didn't think he was going to be eaten.
No, I know. They're not
Okay, all right. I just had to ask.
No, I
maybe
didn't.
maybe singe his beard a little bit.
I thought it was going to be like a runaway moment or something. I didn't expect how it went down
Same.
to have been as funny and interesting, and my favorite moment was the lean in of the dragon neck.
Yeah.
The like, my turn.
Yeah, like my pugs do that. Every time I pet one, the other one kind of goes,
Aww.
all right, yes, you too.
So is Tyrion going to one day ride one of these dragons?
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's like adopting them in this scene. It's like the boy who always wanted a puppy growing up, but his parents wouldn't let him have one, and now he's finally found puppies that need his help, and he's like adopting them. I think he's going to take over until
No.
Dany returns.
I don't think you'll get one.
No?
don't.
Go ride it.
Oh.
I don't think I'll get him.
Dude, he deserves one.
I agree that he
man
deserves
a
one,
freaking
but I
dragon.
think there might be some other options.
All right, that's fair. But he had that whole monologue about how, you know, when he found out that the dragons had died out, he cried himself to sleep. Tyrion and I have that in common, but we don't have to get too into that.
I thought there was another point earlier we mentioned the connection that Ghost and Jon had. I thought it was interesting that the dragons stopped eating as soon as Daenerys left. So they sensed her going away. Was a good point. I also was a little bit confused on how they said they're these very smart, intelligent beings, animals, but how did she trap them with food then when they originally got chained up?
Man, when
Well-
I'm really hungry, I can't think straight.
Also, they may be intelligent, but it was their mother who did it.
Exactly.
So being intelligent and, you know, if my mom lured me in with food, I would, I'd probably do it.
You'd end up with
I would, you know what I mean? Like,
Mom's
I like to
home
consider
cooking.
myself as an intelligent person,
True.
but if like my mom, who has up until now not locked me up in a closet
And not
like,
poisoned
were to do,
you or
you know,
anything?
were to do that, then that wouldn't be. I'd like to think that wouldn't reflect my intelligence as much as
the love you have for your
She
mother.
betrayed you
yeah.
with those
But-
brownies.
But he has
with the
that line.
fudge on top.
He has that line. That's what I do. I drink and I know things, and I'm gonna drink my wine to that. 'Cause it was
Cheers.
glorious.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers to that, dragons.
Everyone
Very
drink.
nice.
To dragons.
Cheers.
And
There we
snow.
So one more storyline we have to get to is Arya. Here we go. A little brief thing, but we have her fighting again with the waif, and she's getting beat up again. But Jaqen shows up.
Finally. I really couldn't go on another episode watching her get beat while she's blind. Like, I get it's part of the training, but, like, I don't need to see it
I agree.
anymore.
I agree. I think the one time was enough. Like if you did it anymore, it'd just get gratuitous, and we get the point.
I kind of wanted some sort of line of like, stop coming back here for 4 weeks or something. Although I know we couldn't do that because we have a different timeline going on. But I was like, oh, that was a pretty quick beggar-dom with sticks. Like, I didn't want to see it the whole time, but it did go by very quickly
Did go
for
by.
us to.
You did see your hesitation, though.
accepted.
Like a slight hesitation when he said, I'll give a girl her vision back, her eyes back. Do you think Arya will see again someday?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
He
Yeah.
teased it.
Yes.
Is she gonna see through her own eyes, or some of the
No.
faces that she wears?
There
is
we
she?
go.
Faces.
She is no one.
She is no one.
Who is she?
Yeah, who is she?
Sir.
So she'll put on somebody's face, and
A
then she'll
girl
be
is
able
no
to
one.
see.
She'll be
Agreed.
blind. when
Unless
she
she
sees
puts
herself.
on a blind person's face. In
Well,
which
yeah.
case she would.
I can't argue against that logic.
Right?
Hey, can we cut into predictions? Can we do this? Can we talk about next week?
Okay.
Nice.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Predictions. Kristen, take it off. What do you think's gonna happen?
Jon is up and walking, and it just looks like everyone is stunned. I feel like
I
he's going to
would
be
be.
a man of few words at this point.
I would be if I was stabbed to death by. You know, but here's the thing that I'm curious about. What like, obviously everyone's gonna have that initial shock, but then everyone's gonna look to him, seeing as he has been risen from the frickin' grave, and we have this unity that just happened between the wildlings anyway. So
He's got an army,
got
that
a-
one.
he's got he got major support.
Whatever he wants to do, everyone's going to follow him. Who's there? Who sees him? Who
I'm
knows
very
the story?
curious as if the wildlings become permanent residents of the wall.
Okay.
Like if they don't go back to their lands and they kind of just take over.
I think they
this
become
barrier.
permanent members of Jon's army because they're not going to stay there. The men of the wall, a few have to stay there, obviously, who took the oath, but everybody else is going to be part of his army.
There's just like no. The Night's Watch feels just like so small.
So
Well, I mean, none of it's
small.
gonna matter
small.
once winter hits anyway, which it's hitting. So I mean,
Winter is coming.
So
Winter is
Always
here.
remembering
like
the words of the
winter is here.
stars.
So at this point, doesn't matter where they go. They're gonna they have a bigger enemy ahead. They're all going to. Have
I
to
don't feel
turn-
like he's going to stay there, though, Jon. I don't know what his destination is going to be. I think we're going to find out next episode.
Okay.
Very interesting. Ryan, you got any predictions over there?
Ooh, I do. I don't want to give it. I don't want to give it all away. But Sarah Walker, she always has great things to say. She said something. I won't give it all away. She's something about ice dragons. I'm not sure what is all in the books. I don't want to give too much away. But staying on that theme of dragons, I want to shout out Ahmed Mamin. His prediction is 3 dragons. 1 for Khaleesi, 1 for Tyrion, and 1 for Jon.
Ooh.
And I like that.
I like that too.
That a lot.
I like that prediction. I think it's good.
I'm agreeing with
Viewers,
for
if you
Jon.
like it, let's give a thumbs up to the stream.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I had a prediction by the top of my head. I predict that everyone will give a thumbs up to our video. They will follow us at AfterBuzz TV. Tweet us with the hashtag ABTV Game of Thrones. We'll always be watching, reading your comments. We love you guys in the chat. And I predict that you can follow me at Ryan Malati.
Very nice.
Kyle?
Oh, me. You
Oh,
can follow
I'm sorry.
me. Oh, no. We can go that way. We can go
Bring it
this way.
around.
You can follow me at Kyle Maddock on Twitter.
You guys can follow me at Cinematic Escape.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at my name, Autumn Chickless.
And I'm at Sarah_Stretton, so there you go.
Thank you guys so much for watching this AfterBuzz TV after show for Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 2, Home.
Oh, and more from the car starts. That's my prediction.
There we go. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.